All right, so hello everybody. My name is Yuvraj Gill, and I'll be examining the effects of climate change on arthritis, on the different forms of arthritis. And currently, I live in the Bay Area, but currently I'm at Los Angeles for a robotics tournament. All right, so just an introduction. There are three main forms of arthritis that we will be going over in this presentation. So there's rheumatoid arthritis, which is the most common inflammatory arthritis, and it's a systemic inflammatory disorder that mainly affects the joints. There's also osteoarthritis, which is the leading cause of disability and societal cost in an aging population. And this is huge because, especially osteoarthritis, we're going to be focusing a lot on seniors and the more elderly groups of people in a population in society and how it really affects them, especially climate change, how it affects them. Finally, we're also going to be learning about acute gouty arthritis, or gout for short, and it's a common treatable arthritis. And yeah, all three of these are going to go much more in detail in the later slides. Common procedures for arthritis diagnosis. So obviously, in checkups, there's symptoms that you can tell for arthritis, like pain in joints, especially in rheumatoid arthritis, blood tests, x-rays, MRIs, which stand for magnetic resonance imaging. So it scans your body and creates very detailed images of the tissues and just an x-ray of your body. Also ESR tests. I always fail to pronounce this, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. It's a blood test which can see inflammatory activity in the body and especially in the joints. This would be important for the joints in this case, for the different forms of arthritis. Treatment of arthritis includes anti-rheumatic medications and NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. All right.
Yuvraj,
So,
I'm only seeing your title slide. I'm wondering if there's something you can do to move to the next slide.
yeah, that's okay. So that means it might have paused. I don't know how. It might be because it is slow.
Okay,
Should
you might possibly try taking it out of presenter mode and just going through the slides.
Sorry?
Can you take it out of presenter mode and just walk through each of the slides?
Get out of presenter mode. So like, okay, stop share. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea actually. All right, can you see it now?
We can see it.
All right, there you go. Yeah, so just going back to my previous slides just for a second. Just three main forms of arthritis and the common procedures for diagnosis and treatment. All right, so now moving on to the topic of this presentation. So I'm sure everyone knows what climate change is and the huge effects of the climate crisis. There's flooding, hurricanes, wildfires, and also a severe increase in the instances of weather extremities. There's a lot colder weather in some places, and in majority of places, a lot hotter weather, especially earlier in the year than expected. And as a result, these can negatively affect access to healthcare in people with lower socioeconomic status, and it can severely affect people with these different forms of arthritis. As studies show that the different forms of arthritis, the symptoms and frequency of these forms worsen with certain varying temperatures and with extreme temperatures. So one can sort of intuitively understand that as the climate crisis worsens and that there's more weather extremities, there will also be higher instances of more severe arthritis in people, especially in seniors. All right, can we see the slides change? All right, cool. So here's discussion. According to a paper examining the association between acute gouty arthritis and meteorological factors, gout, which is short for acute gouty arthritis, occurred significantly more frequently in spring compared to the other seasons, and it showed an increase in episodes from March to July, and it was the highest in July, although in the spring it was more frequent than other years. And this implies that as you know, when there's certain weather factors that occur as climate change grows warmer, as the seasons change, there will be more acute gouty arthritis. And along with this, the paper goes on to talk about the seasonality of uric acid levels in the body, with uric acid being significantly higher in the summer than in the winter. And uric acid, when uric acid crystals sort of build up in the joints, that can promote inflammation, and that can worsen significantly the effects of arthritis, like rheumatoid arthritis, for example, which affects the joints. going to RA or rheumatoid arthritis, according to a 2019 study of more than 12,000 people with ARTS. So this is a big study. Rheumatoid arthritis symptoms flare in the small joints of hands and feet in the spring, and then right after spring in the winter. And in sort of a contradictory study, but it was smaller. It was found that extreme temperatures in the summer and in the winter significantly impacted RA, as well as another autoimmune condition. And this shows how, because of such, like, when there's the weather extremity is so high and so varying, it shows how the symptoms can flare and become much more frequent. And again, that's a huge problem for not only the entire population, but especially for seniors. And it can only get worse as the climate crisis worsens. Moving on to osteoarthritis, or OA, according to another study examining the influence of weather conditions on joint pain of older people with osteoarthritis, damp and rainy and cold weather conditions affected joint pain with people with osteoarthritis. And one can infer that if the trend of extreme temperatures caused by climate change continues, so will the severity of these symptoms. And sort of a side note, one of the main theories of why, especially for osteoarthritis, why damp, rainy, and cold weather conditions worsen osteoarthritis is not only does the colder weather affect increased pain, it also, there's sort of a psychological effect as well, especially when it's rainy. The mood goes down of people, and that can result to them not going outside as often and not exercising as often due to the conditions, and that can very severely affect our arthritis in general. All right, so here's some visuals. I'm not gonna go, it's a lot of words, so I'm just gonna go very briefly. Figure 1, it shows the amount of climate extremes, so temperature, precipitation, from 1910 to 2020. And you can see how it's going up quite a bit. And we can also see that in the other figures. For example, figure 2, we can see how figure 2 has geophysical events, meteorological events, hydrological events, and climatological events from 1980 to 2015. And again, you can see a greater frequency, a greater severity of arthritis symptoms. Figure 3, you can see how the arthritis is increasing as the population is growing. So this is a projected, doctor projected amount of symptoms of arthritis and diagnoses of arthritis until 2040. And you can see how it's predicted to increase a lot. And what I'm saying, what my research is showing, is that this is due to the fact that the climate change is causing this. I mean, as climate change worsens, this will also worsen, and it's being proven by doctor diagnosis. Okay, so yeah, sort of a recap. One can infer that if the trend of extreme temperatures caused by climate change continues, so will the severity and so will the frequency of these symptoms. They will also increase and continue to increase. Climate change is advancing in severity every day and is becoming more and more harmful, more urgent every day as well. And humanity as a whole should just unite in order to fight and prevent these effects of climate change. Some of them, we don't even know about, and a lot of them are coming to light every day. And over here is my bibliography that I did my studies for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yuvraj. Well, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. I'd like to thank all our presenters for sharing this amazing work with us. I would also like to thank all of you in our audience that joined us today. We couldn't support these incredibly talented students without you. So at this point, I hope you'll get up, stretch, and then head straight over to our keynote with Stanford Professor Chung-Wei Lee. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you.